Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mars Needs Movies. It's time for another one of our rewind episodes that originally played on our first podcast, Monster Movie Fun Time Go. Please enjoy. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences greater than man's and yet as mortal as his own. That as men busied themselves about their various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. With infinite complacency, men went to and fro over this globe about their little affairs, serene in their assurance of their empire over matter. Yet, across the gulf of space, minds that are to our minds as ours are to those of the beasts that perish, intellects, vast and cool and unsympathetic, regarded this earth with envious eyes, and slowly and surely drew their plans against us.
1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster Movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster Movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of Horror. Mars Needs Movies. This is day number 5, and with me is my usual co-host. I'm your host, Precious D, and with me is my usual co-host, Honeybee. Hello, Honeybee.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Precious. Good to be here. Good to be here.
This Halloween season, in our 31 Days of Horror, we are doing tales of alien invasions, incursions, infiltrations, and visitations. And today we're finally talking about War of the Worlds. We're going to cover a few versions, and then we're going to be back with another episode about yet another version. And of course, if this becomes an ongoing thing, like I think it will, we will have several other versions to talk about throughout the years.
Yeah, I would like to make a little shout out here to my ex-boss and coworker, Max, who, when I told him about my podcast, our podcast, he was like, did you do War of the Worlds? And I was like, oh, you know what? We didn't, but I'm not sure why. And I knew I had seen the 2005 version, but I was like, I don't know why we didn't do it. And then we kind of talked about it. So I just want to shout out Max because I'm going to send him this episode. Okay. Because he was like, you have to do it. He really wanted us to do it. So I'm excited to do this for you, Max. This one's for you.
Well, he should have become a patron because patrons get to request movies.
That is true.
Folks, if you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe and rate and review. I always wait till the end of the episode to say that, but I'm going to say it at the beginning like I should. And consider checking out our Patreon where you can request a movie if you're a paying patron. Okay, so War of the Worlds, originally a novel by Herbert George Wells, known professionally as H.G. Wells. First published, serialized it was, from in 1897, and then published as a full novel in 1898, and has never been out of print since then. It has been adapted into multiple movies, radio shows, infamously radio shows, 3 television shows, various comic books, various sequels and sidequels have been written. I just recently backed a Kickstarter for the 3rd and final issue of something called War of the Worlds Thundercloud, which is a sidequel. It's takes a minor incident from the novel and then focuses on that from their point of view. something that's just witnessed from a
Okay.
distance in the novel itself. So, Honeybee, have you ever read the book?
I have not read the book. In fact, as far as I was concerned, the only version that existed was the 2005 version.
Okay.
Until I had brought it to your attention, like, why didn't we do War of the Worlds? And you were like, oh god, this is a rabbit hole. And we just kind of went down this rabbit hole of like, holy shit, there is so much content. Like, we could do a whole podcast just on War of the Worlds content alone. It's just so much of it. So yeah, none of it existed to me until Max brought it up to me, and then I brought it up to you.
So the reason we hadn't done it is because I considered those tripods to be mechas and not kaiju.
Yeah.
But there you go. Well, after our War of the Worlds Goliath episode, a friend of the show, Rachel McKinney, decided she was going to read the novel and probably started it.
Hell
she
yeah.
was taking a long flight to London, so she picked up a copy and started reading it. I don't know if she's finished it yet. So then we had the radio show, which we'll talk about a little bit, the Orson Welles Mercury Theater of the Air radio show in 1938, which caused a little bit of a panic that I believe more modern research looking back has found to be exaggerated.
Okay, that makes sense.
It seems like the newspapers the next day picked up on a few incidents and really inflated them and exaggerated them, partly because they wanted to discredit radio. Hey, you can't trust that newfangled radio. Get your news here from the newspaper. You can trust us. We would never print a fictional story and pretend like it was real.
Oh.
So that seems to have been some of the reason why it was exaggerated. But
Interesting.
Years later, in South America, a production in Chile in 1944 and a production in Ecuador in 1949 did cause a pretty big panic. The one in 49 so bad. The guy in 1949 behind the whole thing wanted to fool people. Mercury Theater of the Air says, welcome to the show, we're doing War of the Worlds, and then reminds you throughout the show. This guy purposely was trying to fool people, and it worked. And once the audience realized what was going on, because I think at some point they were forced to admit they were faking it, they went down to the radio station and burned it to the ground.
Oh my word. What?
20 people died.
No.
One of the two producers or directors left the country. The other one was, I think, put on trial and just pointed the finger at the guy that wasn't there. Said it was all his idea. That guy that left the country never came back.
What?
Yep.
Holy shit.
And then there was one in Buffalo in 1968 that, in spite of the fact that they promoted heavily that they were going to be doing an adaptation, still tricked a couple of people. There's been a few other radio productions over the years. None of them seem to cause any hullabaloo, including one in 2005 right here in Odessa, Texas on KISS FM that I was involved in. So there you go.
Ayo.
I have this great book, The Complete War of the Worlds, and the program from that is still tucked into it. It's like a coffee table book, and it's got the script of the radio show, some articles about War of the Worlds, which is where I got all this information on South America and Buffalo, and the text of the book as well, and a CD that has a recording of the radio show on it.
Wow.
So, Honeybee, you listened to the radio version?
I did listen to the radio version. Yeah, I did. I had to listen to it actually more than once because I kept getting so distracted and I would realize that I had stopped listening. Not because it wasn't interesting, it totally was, but I don't know, something about just the fact that I don't know. I had to listen to it a few times. I had to keep going back to it. It could also be because recently I started listening to old radio shows to go to sleep. like just as like background noise. Yeah, it's really great. Like the staticky, like sometimes it'll be like sports, sometimes it'll be and it's just like old timey, like it's great, and I just sleep to it.
Which ones are you listening to?
It's like on YouTube, it'll be like 8-hour compilation of oldies, like old radio shows, and you can pick like comedy or sports or. So maybe I just, I'm so used to that my brain was like, oh, it is time for nap. I don't know, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like my experience with radio shows in general are kind of. It's mostly my experience is with you, like doing, Fred Brown type shit. But then also when I was a kid, I had little cassette tapes that had, stories on them. Like I think one was like a Sesame Street, Grover thing, and then one was like Christian book stories that I don't know. But so I would listen to those cassettes over and over. So that was kind of, radio show to me, So that was cool to kind of remember that and be like, oh, yeah, I used to listen to this shit when I was a kid. Obviously not this kind of shit, but still. So, yeah, it was cool. It was fun. I like what they did from where I like the evolution that we kind of saw in War of the Worlds from radio show to a movie in kind of the 1950s. To a movie in the early 2000s, and the evolution between the three I thought was really cool. I like that we watched them like that, or not just watched, but listened to obviously as well.
Folks, most of you probably don't know. The Fred Brown she mentioned was a audio drama that I wrote that was performed on stage. Someday it will be recorded and you can all hear it on the Spotify, I hope.
Yeah, but also it's so fun to see it like as a stage. That's
so we performed it.
Fun,
we performed it like we were in a studio. So we had the scripts in front of us and we had microphones in front of us. But there was also a little bit of costuming and a little bit of movement around the stage. Well, I want to recommend to you The Shadow and Duffy's Tavern and Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Harry Stone. When I was young, the local radio station that doesn't exist anymore, KRIG, used to have on, I don't know, Saturday nights maybe, they would play the Golden Age of Radio Theater. It was top 40 radio most of the time, but they had Golden Age of Radio Theater at night. So I was introduced to a lot of these shows. And then I would go to the library and check out cassettes of them as well. Of course, the old Jack Benny show is a classic as well. And the Superman radio show is interesting. A lot of the things we think of associate with Superman first appeared on that radio show. And he fought the Ku Klux Klan on that radio show.
Oh, shit.
But this one that we're talking about first is 60 Minutes. I already mentioned it's from 1938. It was directed by Orson Welles and starred Orson Welles. Frank Reddick, Kenny Delmer, and Ray Collins are the only ones listed here in the Wikipedia article, but I think there must have been a few more people than that. It's not that big a cast, though. And the first half of the program is as if it's on the air, and they're playing some dance music, and it keeps getting interrupted. That guy in Ecuador, one of the things he did was promoted this popular musical group or a couple musicians or whatever that they were going to be on that night. So people were tuning in especially to hear them. And then I think he had them or recordings of them. I'm not sure which. But it was a time when they normally played music. It wasn't a time slot for drama. It was a time when they normally played music, and he'd been promoting for a week or two that this group would be playing. So people tuned in to hear them and then heard them get interrupted with the news.
That is insane.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do an updated, localized version where we do include things like the Fort Davis Observatory and the Marfa Lights and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, the first part is as if it's just being broadcast over the air. But then once the shit hits the fan, Orson Welles just starts straight up narrating, and it becomes more of a drama. And he meets a couple of people along the way. And then, of course, the Martians succumb To the bacteria.
But of course.
So what'd you think? You enjoyed the radio show once you managed to stay awake?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did have to. Yeah, I did have to keep coming back to it. But like I said, I don't think that was because it wasn't interesting sort of problem. I think that was just like a me distraction problem. But I did enjoy it, and I'll probably listen to it again. Honestly.
Good. So let's talk about the first movie. Now, Wikipedia here says that as of 2005, it has inspired 8 films. I have not counted up the number of films, but that sounds about right. And of course, there's many films, many of which we're watching this month that they're not direct adaptations. Yes, they're definitely variations on a theme, but they're not direct adaptations. I mean, the book is one of the first stories of aliens being in conflict with humans, and it is the prototype invasion story that so many other things are based on. And it is an invasion. I mentioned at the top, invasions, infiltrations, incursions, visitations. Yes. This one's a straight up invasion where they just come full force. We're going to take over your planet. And fortunately, they fail. So the first movie adaptation is from 1953, directed by George Pal. I think he did another thing. Yeah, George Pal also did When Worlds Collide. Okay. That we did on our Patreon. So go to our Patreon to listen to that. It's 85 minutes. It cost $2 million, and the box office was $2 million. So,
well,
there you go. It's generally considered a classic, though. It's in the National Film Registry which is part of the Library of Congress, I believe, who deemed it culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant.
Ooh, aesthetically.
And the cast is Gene Barry as Dr. Clayton Forrester, which, if you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, one of the mad scientists on that show is named after this character.
Oh.
Anne Robinson as Sylvia Van Buren, Les Tremayne as Major General Mann, Bob Cornthwaite as Dr. Pryor, Sandro Giglio as Dr. Bilderbeck. I started to say Gigolo, and I'm like, that's not right.
That can't be right.
And Cody as Dr. Dupree. Lewis Martin as the Reverend Dr. Martin Collins. Housley Stevenson Jr. as General Mann's aide. Bill Phillips as Wash Perry. Vernon Rich as Colonel Ralph Hefner. Henry Brandon as Cop at Crash. Jack Crushin as Salvatore. Paul Frees as radio reporter and pre-titles narrator. He's been in a number of movies that we've watched. And Sir Cedric Hardwicke as post-titles narrator.
Fuck yeah.
So I don't know why they needed 2 different ones. Honeybee, what are your impressions and feelings and thoughts on 1953 War of the Worlds?
Well, I thought that it was interesting, like I said, the evolution of where we went from the radio show to, video. And I think it's just because when you're listening to the radio show, you're kind of seeing it in your brain, right? So you maybe see it really big, and then when you're watching the movie, maybe the effects in 1953 aren't as big as you imagine, right? So there is kind of that where I feel like the radio show was so much more, I don't know, it's bigger, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And then so I did like it. I thought it was good. I kind of didn't hate the couple, which I feel like I could have. I feel like I could have gone either way. Like, I'm like, oh, I think they're actually cute. Okay, I'll accept it. I'll allow it. I didn't hate them like I do some of the couples that we get. But yeah, there was just little things, like we start on Earth in this with this silly little explosion, whereas in the radio show it was this on Mars, and this explosion when it happened you could see it 300 yards away. And so I kind of, going from the radio show to the first movie, I was kind of like, okay, all right, but I did think it was good.
Okay, good. I just find it annoying all the changes they made,
Yeah.
particularly that the tripods are not tripods. They do have these. They hint at them being tripods. There's these 3 beams that you can kind of see in some of the shots. Energy beams that are holding up. They're kind of like flying saucers.
Yeah.
Sort of distorted flying saucers. And there's these 3 beams of energy that are keeping them aloft. I think I haven't been able to find anything specific about it, but my guess would be that they didn't want to do stop motion,
Yeah.
and it was easier to just hang a saucer off a string.
Which we do see a few
than
times, the string.
and cheaper. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's worse if you watch a modern high def version. It's something that maybe you wouldn't have noticed in previous versions.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's a good point. Totally.
There's a moment in Forbidden Planet that the effect is more obvious in the high def version than it is in the older versions.
That's so funny. I hadn't thought about that.
So they also changed what little we see of the Martians is a little different than how they're described in the book.
Okay.
And
Well, I will say when I
and of
saw
course
them
they
this
set it in America.
right. When I saw them first in this, version, I thought, and shout out again to Max, I was like, oh, well, this is why we didn't do this movie, is because these aren't kaiju. Like, they're not big enough, Obviously, in the 2005 version, they're very much scaled up, but the whole, thing is scaled up because now we're in this big city and yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, I was like, when watching this original movie, the first one, I was like, oh, well, this is why we didn't do it. These aren't kaiju. And I would consider most mecha, or at least most mecha that we've seen kaiju, because they've been so big, but these guys are so small in this film, and maybe that is just because it is like a little flying saucer on a string, but they just don't, it doesn't really give that. This film, the effect that this film kind of gives is more like psychological. It's like more like thrilling, ooh, but the actual visuals and stuff was kind of underwhelming to me, I think, especially after the radio show.
Yeah. Now, the 1988 television series is a sequel to this film specifically.
Oh.
I think it uses some shots from this film in the opening credits, and Anne Robinson reprises her role as Sylvia Van Buren in 3 episodes.
Wow, that's cool. She's a fox.
And it says here that I'm not aware, I'll have to look these up. She reprises her role in 2 other films. First as Dr. Van Buren. She's studying. She's in school in this movie. Dr. Van Buren in 1988's Midnight Movie Massacre, and then as Dr. Sylvia Van Buren in 2005's The Naked Monster.
Oh.
I am not aware.
What? What is this?
Either of those. Yeah, I'm not familiar with either of those movies. But
we got to get familiar.
check
We got to
them
get
out.
familiar with this movie. If there's anything I love better than a monster, it's a naked monster. I like my monsters
That's
naked.
what you think. So, it's set in America. It's a small town. The thing crashes. Some people get vaporized. They try to wave a white flag.
Yeah.
The army's useless.
Annoying.
We get a scientist and lady who kind of fall in love and run around a bunch.
They're cute, and they're cute. I'll admit they're cute. There's one particular moment where she's kind of losing her shit, and he's like, "Hey, get your shit together!" And she's like, "Okay." And then I was like, "Okay, all right, okay, I can handle this. Cute, it's cute."
Yeah, there was a tendency in these old movies to never let women have any emotions.
Hey, quit feeling emotions, you woman. Hysterics.
It's one thing if the aliens are right there at that moment and you need to shut up because they're going to hear you, but that's not what was going on. She just needed a moment to have a little bit of a breakdown, and he just, instead of just comforting her or sympathizing, he's just trying to snap her out of it.
He was tough
Does
loving.
he slap her? Does he just shake?
He just shakes
does
her.
He, just,
He doesn't slap her.
just
He
shakes
just
her.
gives her a little. He gives her a little shake. I felt like, I was like, hell yeah. I mean, she she took a deep breath and it looked like she was doing better. So I was like, okay, this,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you just need someone to shake you.
Yeah. I guess.
In
This
the
is reminding me of
1950s.
two comedy. This is reminding me of Airplane when everybody in the plane lines up to slap and beat the hysterical woman.
Oh.
And also the producers where he's Gene Wilder's being hysterical and Zero Mostel slaps him and he's like, ah, he's like, I'm hysterical. He slaps him. He's like, ow, I'm in pain and I'm hysterical. And then he throws water in his face and he's like, I'm wet and I'm in pain and I'm hysterical. So he's just making it worse. Just give him a moment. Now, folks, big spoiler here. If you haven't seen any of these versions before, the humans do not defeat the Martians.
Wah, wah, wah.
Martians, even though they have superior intellects and superior technology, are apparently completely unfamiliar with the concept of microbes and are brought low. Maybe they don't have them on Mars. I don't know.
Maybe they don't have them because
I
they're
suppose
in machines. Whatever.
I guess it's possible.
Movie magic.
Because, there's a reason why humans wear environmental suits when they go to other planets. I'm going to address that in a second. Anyway, there's they catch a cold. They get germs. They hadn't taken our germs into account, and they get sick, and they die, and are brought low by those smallest of creatures that God in His wisdom put on our planet.
Ed.
I was just realizing there's a trope in many science fiction movies where the astronauts are on another planet and they're wearing their suits, but they don't want to have them in the suits the whole time. So one of the guys will just take his helmet off. Rather than doing some kind of readings or something, they'll just take their helmet off and take a deep breath and go, the air is breathable. And they never take into account that there could be deadly microbes in that air. You might still want to learn a lesson from the Martians, learn from their mistake. You might want to still keep that helmet on until you're sure.
Damn it.
So, there you go.
Yeah. Man.
Well, Honeybee, what are you going to rate the...
Are we rating the radio show and the movie, or just the movie or the show?
Sure. Okay, so we're doing a 5 flying saucers scale this year. So what do you rate the radio show?
Okay, I'm gonna give the radio show 4 flying saucers.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 3.8.
3.8?
No, it's a 4. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. I don't love it, but I did enjoy it. I liked it. I'll probably listen to it again. It's nice background music. Or noise, I should say.
What about the movie?
And the movie, I'm going to say the radio show's a 4 and the movie's a 3.8. It was okay, but it was all right. A little better than all right.
I'm going to give the radio show a 4.
Okay.
And a 3 to the movie.
Sick.
At one point, Orson Welles did meet H.G. Wells, so that was fun.
I did see that there was another movie too that was I actually don't remember the year now, but it was like War of the Worlds. Now I don't remember which Wells it was, but there was a whole nother movie that was 19. I don't know. Like you said, 8 movies based off of this, so who fucking knows? There was so many to sort through. All right.
Yeah, when we'll be, like I said, if we spin this off, we'll be getting to those. There was a thing in 1975, a TV movie called The Night That Panicked America, and I remember seeing this. That's about the radio production and the panic that it caused.
That's funny. Chaos.
All right, folks. That's going to wrap it up for today. We will be back tomorrow with another of our alien invasion movies. Until then, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey B.
Remember to keep watching the skies.
Please, don't misuse science. Take shelter in your basements. For fuck's sake.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.
Fun time go!